Sorrow is a weight, and the modern world tells you to put it down, to fix it, to smile, to move on. We are told that sadness is something to be conquered, eliminated from our lives like a virus to be cured. We are given 1,000 shallow remedies, the forced brightness of positive thinking, or the numbing comfort of screens and substances. All of it designed to help us avoid the one thing we need most, to simply be with what we feel. But tonight, we reject that. Tonight, we do not try to lift the weight. We simply learn how to carry it. You have permission to be tired. You have permission to hurt. You have permission to simply exist in your sorrow, without shame, without guilt, without the exhausting performance of pretending everything is fine. We are going to walk a different path, an ancient path, one that was walked by a man who lived 700 years ago in stone monasteries and drafty scriptoriums, a man who understood the architecture of the human soul with a precision that rivals any modern psychology. His name was Thomas Aquinas, a Dominican friar, a doctor of the Church. In his masterwork, the Summa Theologica, a massive compilation of questions and answers about the nature of existence itself, St. Thomas gives us a surprising remedy for a heavy heart. He does not demand forced happiness. He does not tell you to simply choose joy, as if sorrow were a switch you could flip at will. Instead, he prescribes 5 gentle cures, 5 ancient remedies drawn from observation, from philosophy, and from the simple wisdom of what it means to be human: weeping, compassion, truth, prayer, and sleep. These are not escapes from sorrow. They are ways through it, passages that lead not around the pain, but directly into its heart, and then out the other side. He understood something that we have forgotten in our age of quick fixes. He understood that sometimes the only way to heal the soul is to rest the body, that sometimes the mind must stop its endless churning and simply be still. So tonight, let go of the need to be okay. Let us apply the cure and drift into silence. The room is ready. The candle is lit. The ancient stones wait in patient silence. And we are about to begin a journey inward, a descent into the depths where sorrow lives, and then slowly, carefully, a return to the surface with the knowledge of how to breathe again. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Let us enter the scriptorium where wisdom waits. You are in a room made of stone, cold stone, ancient stone that has stood for centuries, that will stand for centuries more. Feel it through the soles of your feet, that deep chill that seems to emanate from the earth itself. Through the thin wool of your clothes you can feel it against your skin. It is an old cold, a cold that has settled deep into the bones of the earth, into the very foundations of this place. A cold that the sun cannot touch, even in high summer. A cold that is permanent, eternal, unchanging. There is one light, a single candle on a heavy oak table, its wood scarred and stained with centuries of use. The table sits in the center of this vast room, and the candle flame is a small, desperate thing in all that darkness. It shivers when you breathe. Watch how it makes the shadows move. Long shadows, distorted shadows. They cling to the corners of the scriptorium like old cobwebs, like living things that retreat from the light but never quite disappear. The ceiling is vaulted, lost in darkness above you. You cannot see where the stone arches meet, cannot trace the ribs of the architecture in this gloom. The room feels enormous, cavernous, as if it could swallow you whole. And yet it also feels close, pressing in, the weight of all that stone above you, the weight of centuries of prayers and studies and midnight vigils. The air is thick with the scent of beeswax and old paper, the particular smell of vellum and parchment, of animal skin cured and stretched and made ready to receive ink, and the faint metallic tang of that ink itself, made from oak galls and iron sulfate, a recipe as old as civilization, and something else, dust, the dust of centuries, fine particles that catch in your throat, that coat your tongue, the accumulated sediment of time itself, settling on every surface, dulling the edges of everything. Outside, the world is asleep or gone. It is impossible to tell. The walls are so thick that no sound penetrates, no wind, no rain, no distant voice or barking dog or cart rumbling over cobblestones. The only sound is the whisper of the candle flame, a tiny susurration as it consumes the wax, and the slow, heavy beat of your own heart, louder than it should be in the silence. Thump, 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 a drum in your chest, counting out the seconds, the minutes, the hours you have spent in this state. And far away, so far away you almost imagine it, a single bell tolls the hour, 1, 2, 3. The sound reaches you as if from another world, muffled by distance and stone. It marks time passing, but time has no meaning here. 1 hour or 10, it is all the same in this place outside of time. You are here because of the weight. Let us not give it a name yet. Let us not speak of what caused it, what event or loss or betrayal brought you to this state. Let us only acknowledge its properties, its physical characteristics. It is heavy. Not like a thought is heavy, the way an idea can press on your mind. Not like a memory is heavy, the way the past can burden the present. No. This is a physical weight, a stone in your gut, an anchor in your chest pulling you down, down, down towards some unseen bottom. It pulls your shoulders down. You can feel them, rounded forward, curving in as if to protect your heart from further blows. It curves your spine. Stand up straight, people have told you, but you cannot. The weight will not allow it. It makes every breath a task, a labor. Each inhalation requires effort, requires a conscious decision to continue. The diaphragm must be forced to expand. The lungs must be commanded to fill. Nothing is automatic anymore. Everything requires will. You came here seeking an answer, a formula, a secret key to unlock the chains. Perhaps you expected a treatise, a logical argument that would dissect your pain and explain it away, or a mystical revelation that would dissolve it in a flash of light. But the man of wisdom, the quiet master of this place, he would not start there. He would not reach immediately for the abstract, for the intellectual solution. No, he would start with the thing itself, the pain, the physical reality of suffering in a human body. Thomas would say that sorrow is a shrinking of the soul. Feel that, not as a poem, not as a metaphor, but as a diagnosis, a medical observation, a shrinking, a contraction, like a fist clenching in the dark, tighter and tighter until the knuckles are white and the nails dig into the palm, like a piece of parchment left too close to the fire, curling in on itself, blackening at the edges, becoming smaller and smaller until it is nothing but ash, This is what the weight does. It doesn't just press down from above, it presses in from all sides. It seeks to make you smaller, to reduce the space you occupy in the world, to diminish you. Your voice becomes quieter, your gestures become smaller, you take up less room, you try to disappear. The weight wants to collapse you, until the great vaulted chamber of your own being, all the vast interior space that makes you who you are, feels as small and as airless as a tomb. The breath catches in your throat, the chest is tight, there is a band around your ribs, squeezing, constricting. The world outside this small circle of candlelight seems immense, hostile, overwhelming, and you are just this small, shrinking thing, a point of pain in the vast, cold emptiness, a tiny spark of suffering in an uncaring universe. This is the truth of sorrow. It is not an idea to be debated in a lecture hall. It is not a philosophical problem to be solved with clever arguments. It is a condition to be endured, a state of being. And because the ailment is physical, so too must be the first remedies. Before the intellect can work, before reason can find its footing, before you can think your way through this, the body must be attended to. The pressure must be released. The first remedy is the simplest, the most immediate, the most instinctive: weeping. Ah, yes, you resist this. Of course you do. You see it as a surrender, a failure of strength, a weakness. You have been holding it back for days, for weeks, building a dam of muscle and will against a rising tide. Your jaw is sore from clenching. You can feel the tension there, the ache in the temporomandibular joint. Your throat is raw from swallowing the grief, from pushing it back down every time it tries to rise. You have made yourself into a fortress, walls upon walls, battlements and ramparts, all designed to keep the tears inside. But the master would tell you this is a mistake. It is a misunderstanding of mechanics. A harmful thing, when it is kept inside, becomes more harmful. The pressure builds. The soul shrinks ever tighter. The walls you have built do not protect you. They imprison you. Think of a pot of water on the fire, sealed shut with a heavy lid. The heat builds underneath. The steam expands. The pressure increases. What happens if there is no release? What happens if the steam cannot escape? The vessel breaks. It ruptures. It explodes. And the damage is far worse than if you had simply lifted the lid and let the steam escape gradually, safely. Tears are the steam. They are the body's wisdom, its ancient evolutionary wisdom, its way of venting a pressure that would otherwise cause a rupture, a breakdown, a collapse. It is a letting go, a release valve. Your body knows this even if your mind rebels against it. Your body understands what your pride does not, that there is no shame in this, that tears are not weakness but survival, not surrender but healing. Allow yourself to feel it now, here, in the safety of the stone and the silence. No one is watching, no one will judge, no one will tell you to stop, to be strong, to pull yourself together. Let the dam break. Feel the heat rise behind your eyes, that stinging, burning sensation, the pressure building in your sinuses. Let the muscles in your jaw tremble and release. Feel them unlock. Feel the tension drain away. Let the first tear escape, hot against your cold skin. It leaves a track in the dust of the day, a clean line through the grime, and then another, and another. They come faster now. The dam is crumbling. The floodgates are opening. There is no thought required. This is not a work of the mind. It is the work of the body, healing itself. The shuddering breath, that hitching in your chest, the low sound that escapes your throat, animal and raw. This is the sound of a pressure being equalized. This is the sound of restoration beginning. Let it come, all of it. The sobs that shake your shoulders, the gasping breaths, the tears that blur your vision until the candle flame becomes a dozen flames, a constellation of light swimming in the darkness. Your nose runs, your face is wet, your chest heaves. You are not beautiful in this moment. You are not composed. You are not strong in any way the world would recognize. But you are honest. You are real. You are human in the most fundamental sense. A creature in pain, allowing that pain its expression. The sorrow does not disappear. The weight is not lifted. Not yet. But for a moment there is space. The fist unclenches just a little. The soul stops shrinking, and for a blessed moment it simply is. It exists without contracting, without fleeing, without hiding. You breathe, a deeper breath than you have taken all day, all week. The air is still cold, but it feels clean. It feels like it reaches a place inside you that was closed off before. Like oxygen reaching a part of your lungs that had been collapsed, that now expands and fills. The tears slow. They do not stop completely, but they slow. The great racking sobs become quiet, trembling. The storm inside you is passing. Not gone, but passing. And as it passes, the silence of the room returns. But it feels different now. Less empty, less hostile, less like a void that wants to swallow you. Now it feels patient, attentive, like it has witnessed what needed to be witnessed and is waiting with infinite patience for what comes next. But the wait remains. This is important to understand. The tears have not cured you. They have not solved the problem. The reason for your sorrow still exists. The loss, the pain, the wound, whatever it is still there. But something has shifted. Some pressure has been released. Some poison has been drained. The body has done its work, and with the quiet comes a new danger, a new phase of suffering, isolation. The echo of your own pain in the stone chamber, the feeling that you are utterly, completely alone with this burden. You have wept, yes, but you have wept alone. And now the tears are drying on your face, and you are still here, still in this cold room, still carrying this weight, and the walls seem to press in closer, and the darkness seems to deepen, and a terrible thought begins to form. No one understands. No one has ever felt what I feel. No one could possibly know this particular species of pain. This is the second phase of sorrow's attack. First, it shrinks the soul. Then, it convinces the soul that it is the only thing in the universe, that it is singular in its suffering, unique in its agony, isolated beyond all hope of connection. This is a lie. It is the cruelest lie sorrow tells. But in this moment, in this cold room, with the taste of salt on your lips and the ache still fresh in your chest, it feels like truth. And so we come to the second remedy. Another remedy for the body, for the heart, not yet for the mind. The compassion of a friend. Listen to the wisdom here. The old master, in his careful Latin, in his precise scholastic language, says something so simple and so profound that it could be easily missed. When a man's friends condole with him, he sees that he is loved by them, and this affords him pleasure. Let us examine this, dissect it like the medieval scholar would, word by word, concept by concept. The word here is not happiness, it is not joy, it is not ecstasy or bliss or any of those bright burning emotions. It is pleasure. What is this pleasure? It is not the pleasure of a feast, of wine and music and laughter. It is not the pleasure of triumph or success or achievement. It is the pleasure of relief, the pleasure of a burden shared, the pleasure of discovering you are not alone. Imagine you are carrying that physical stone we spoke of earlier, that anchor, that weight. You have been carrying it for so long that your muscles are screaming, your bones ache, your shoulders are on fire, your back is about to give out, your knees are trembling. You are about to collapse under the load. You can feel your body beginning to fail, beginning to buckle. Just a few more steps and you will fall. You will go down under the weight and you will not be able to rise. Then a friend arrives. They come walking out of the darkness, out of the cold. They do not try to take the stone from you. They know they cannot. They understand something crucial. It is your stone to carry, your burden, your sorrow. It is particular to you, unique to your circumstances. They cannot simply lift it off your shoulders and carry it away, no matter how much they might wish to. It doesn't work that way. Pain is not transferable. They do not offer easy words. They do not say, everything happens for a reason. They do not say, time heals all wounds. They do not say, it could be worse, or look on the bright side, or any of those empty platitudes that people offer when they don't know what to say. They do not tell you the stone isn't really that heavy, because they can see that it is. They do not tell you to simply put it down, because they know you cannot. They do not minimize your struggle or dismiss your pain. No, they do something far more profound, far more powerful. They walk up beside you, in the silence, without a word, and they place their hand on the stone, next to yours. They don't lift, they don't try to bear the weight themselves, they just rest their hand there, their warm, living hand next to yours on the cold stone, and they bear witness to it. They say, simply by their presence, I see this, I acknowledge this, I am here. Suddenly, the weight is not less, the stone is not lighter, the burden has not changed in its mass or its density, but it is different, somehow, impossibly, it is different. The cold stone now has a point of warmth on it. The crushing isolation is broken. The lie that you are alone, utterly, completely alone, is shattered by the simple fact of another person's presence. The act of them placing their hand on the stone is an acknowledgement. It is a validation. They are saying, without words, I see your burden. It is real. It is heavy, and you are not insane for struggling beneath it. You are not weak for finding it hard to bear. You are not broken for being affected by it. Your pain makes sense. Your sorrow is rational. Your struggle is legitimate, and you are not alone. That is the pleasure Aquinas speaks of. It is the pleasure of being seen. The pleasure of having your reality validated, when the soul has shrunk, when it has contracted into that small airless space, it believes it is invisible, a ghost, insubstantial, unreal. Maybe, it whispers, I am making all this up. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe everyone else goes through things like this and doesn't fall apart. Maybe I am just weak. The friend's touch proves you are still here, still solid, still real, still worthy of attention and care. Their presence is a kind of proof proof that you exist, proof that your pain exists, proof that you matter enough for someone to stand beside you in the dark. The presence of a friend pushes back against the shrinking. Their warmth is a slow, steady counterpressure to the cold that collapses you inward. It is like a hand on your back, bracing you, keeping you upright. It is like a voice in the darkness saying, "I am here. You are not alone. We will get through this." Their quiet breathing beside you in the dark is a reminder that there is a world outside the prison of your own pain. You have been so deep inside your suffering that you have forgotten that there are others who care, forgotten that love exists, forgotten that connection is possible. But their breath, in and out, steady and calm, reminds you the world is still here, life continues, and you are still part of it. And this is crucial. This remedy requires nothing of you. You do not need to perform. You do not need to put on a brave face. You do not need to explain yourself or justify your feelings or make sense of your pain. You do not need to be articulate in your grief. You do not need to say the right things or present your suffering in a way that is palatable to others. All that is required is that you allow them to be there, that you allow their presence to be a balm, that you open the door just a crack and let them in. Let them sit with you in the cold room. Let them place their hand on the stone. Let them witness what you are carrying. This is harder than it sounds. Pride makes us want to hide our pain. Shame makes us want to pretend we are fine. Fear makes us worry that we are burdening others, that we are too much, that they will grow tired of our sorrow and leave. But the remedy requires vulnerability. It requires the courage to be seen in your weakness, to let someone else witness your struggle without trying to minimize it or explain it away. So now, in this quiet room, let that presence be with you. It may be a memory of a friend who has stood beside you in the past, someone who has placed their hand on your stone before. Bring them to mind. Remember their face. Remember the sound of their voice. Remember the feeling of their hand on your shoulder, their arm around you, their steady presence in your darkest moments. Or it may be the thought of a friend who exists now, someone you could call, someone you could reach out to, someone who would come if you asked, even if you haven't asked yet, even if pride or shame or fear has kept you silent. They exist, they are real, and they would come. Or simply the presence of this voice here with you now, a companion on this journey through the night. I am here. I see the weight you carry. I acknowledge its reality. You are not alone in this scriptorium. You are not alone in the night. A hand on the stone, a witness to the weight. You are not alone. Say it to yourself. Let it sink in. Let it penetrate the defenses you have built. You are not alone. Your burden is seen. Your struggle is witnessed. Your pain is validated. You are still here, still real, still worthy of love and care and attention. The burden is yours, yes, it is your stone to carry, but its reality is shared, and in that sharing there is the beginning of relief, not a removal of the pain, but a lightening of the load, a small measure of that quiet pleasure, the pleasure of being known, the pleasure of being loved despite, or perhaps because of, your brokenness. This is the first defense against the shrinking of the soul, connection, compassion, the simple human act of standing beside someone in their suffering. It does not solve the problem. It does not remove the cause of sorrow, but it makes the carrying possible. It makes survival imaginable. It reminds you that you are still part of the human family, still connected to the web of care and concern that binds us all together. The weight remains, but it is no longer unbearable. Not quite, not anymore. The door has closed. Your friend is gone. The warmth of their presence lingers for a moment like a phantom heat against the cold stone. You can still feel where their hand rested next to yours, still sense their breath in the air, but they have left. They had to leave. Everyone has to leave eventually. We cannot demand that others carry our burdens forever. We cannot ask them to abandon their own lives to tend to ours. And now you are alone again, but not entirely as you were before. Something has changed. The anchor of your sorrow is still there. Its chain still runs deep into the pit of your being, down to some depth you cannot fathom. But the weight, the immediate, crushing weight, has been shared for a time. A fraction of it has been lifted, or at least distributed. You know now in your bones, in some deep cellular way, that it is a weight that can be borne. It is not infinite, it is not absolute, it will not kill you, though it feels like it might. This is the gift of friendship, a candle passed in the dark, a reminder that you are not alone in the universe, that love exists, that connection is possible, that your pain, however intense, however all-consuming, is not the only reality. But the darkness remains, the night is deep, and the storm inside you has not passed. It has only quieted its winds for a moment, caught its breath, gathered its strength for another assault. Now a different kind of work begins. The work of the mind, the work of reason and intellect and truth. Thomas, the quiet friar, the master of distinctions and definitions, would say that the heart has had its due. Tears have been shed, releasing the pressure that threatened to break you. Sympathy has been offered and received, providing the warmth and validation that pushed back against the shrinking. These are balms for the body and for the wounded spirit, physical remedies for a physical ailment. But sorrow is a cunning affliction. It is not content to simply wound the body and heart. It lays siege to the intellect. It poisons the well of reason. It attacks the very faculty that makes you human, your ability to perceive reality accurately. Look at your hand in the candlelight, hold it up, see it there, solid and real. It is there, it exists, solid, real. You can count the fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the lines on your palm, the whirls of your fingerprints, the texture of your own skin, the tiny hairs on your knuckles, the way the light catches on the moisture of your skin. This is a fact, an observable, verifiable fact. But sorrow whispers, is it? Is it real? Is it worth anything? What good is a hand when it cannot hold what you have lost? What good is flesh and bone when it feels nothing but pain? What purpose does existence serve when existence itself is suffering? Sorrow casts doubt on everything solid. It turns the very world into a phantom. It makes you question the most basic perceptions. Is the candle really burning, or is it a hallucination? Are these stones really cold, or is it just my own coldness I'm feeling? Is there really a world outside these walls, or is this room all that exists? This tomb, this prison, this hell? It makes you a stranger in your own mind. mind. This is its most dangerous power, not the pain it causes, terrible as that pain is, but the lies it tells, the distortions it introduces, the way it warps the very lens through which you see the world. Suddenly, everything is tilted, everything is skewed toward despair. A neutral glance becomes a judgment. An unanswered letter becomes a rejection. A moment of silence becomes abandonment. The vast, complex tapestry of your life, all its threads of colour and shadow, joy and sorrow, connection and solitude, is reduced to a single dark thread of failure. This is the distortion. This is what Thomas means when he writes, "Sorrow is a kind of flight, while pleasure is a kind of rest." Think on that. Meditate on it. Turn it over in your mind like a jewel, examining its facets. A flight, an escape. You are not seeing reality when you are in sorrow. You are fleeing from it. You are running into a fog of your own making, where every shape is a monster and every sound is a threat. Your mind, the most powerful tool you possess, the thing that separates you from the animals, has become a chamber of warped mirrors, each one reflecting a more monstrous version of your fears. You are in flight from the truth of things, and the only antidote to flight is to plant your feet, to stop running, to turn and face what is real, what is true, what is actually there, rather than what your wounded mind tells you is there. To find something solid, something immovable, something that stands firm regardless of how you feel about it. This is the third remedy, the heaviest remedy, the one that requires not feeling but thinking, not emotion but effort, the contemplation of truth. It sounds cold, doesn't it? Abstract, intellectual. How can an idea soothe a broken heart? How can philosophy heal a wound? How can the dry work of the mind touch the wet agony of the soul? Thomas would say it is not the idea that soothes. It is the reality behind the idea. It is the act of bringing the mind back to what is real, to what is true, regardless of how you feel, to what exists independently of your perception, your emotion, your pain. It is a recalibration, an act of pure will. Your mind is a machine, a great engine of gears and levers and wheels, a miraculous machine capable of abstract thought, of reasoning, of understanding. But right now, sorrow has jammed the mechanism. A gear has slipped. The teeth no longer mesh properly. The entire engine groans and shudders, producing only smoke and noise and pain. The output is corrupted. The conclusions are false. The perceptions are distorted. To contemplate truth is to take a heavy iron bar, your will, your determination, your desperate need for accuracy, and deliberately, slowly, force that gear back into its place. It grinds, it resists, it does not want to move. But you push, you force it, until finally, with a heavy click, it settles back into position. The teeth mesh, the machine can run again. It is not gentle work. It is the work of a blacksmith, not a poet. It requires effort, grit, determination. You must choose to engage the intellect when the heart wants only to weep, when every fibre of your being wants to surrender to the emotion, to let the tide of feeling sweep you away. You must instead grab hold of reason like a rope and pull yourself forward, hand over hand, towards solid ground. Look at the flame of the candle. Really look at it. See how it dances, how it flickers and sways. Watch its movement. See how it consumes the wax, how it turns solid matter into light and heat and tiny particles of smoke that rise and dissipate in the cold air. This is a truth. It is a physical law, a chemical reaction, carbon and hydrogen combining with oxygen, releasing energy in the form of photons and thermal radiation. It does not care about your sorrow. The candle burns whether you are joyful or despairing. It burns whether you notice it or not. It simply is. This is your starting point. You must find a truth, any truth. It does not have to be grand or divine, not yet, not immediately. Start small. Start with what is immediately before you. Start with the stone beneath your feet. Focus on it. Feel it through your shoes. It is cold. It is hard. It has been here for centuries. It was laid by hands long dead, by stonemasons who lived and worked and died generations ago. It will be here long after you are gone. Long after everyone you know is gone. This is true. This is real. This is a fact that exists independently of your feelings about it. Feel its truth through the soles of your shoes. That cold is not an opinion. It is not a matter of perspective. It is a fact. It is a piece of reality that your sorrow cannot warp. Your pain cannot make the stone warmer. Your tears cannot soften its surface. It is what it is, unmoved and unmovable. Now, hold that fact in your mind. Don't let it go. Your mind will try to flee. It will want to run back to the familiar paths of grief, back to replaying the injury, the loss, the wound, back to nursing the hurt, to examining it from every angle, to asking why. That is the flight, the escape from reality into the maze of your own thoughts. You must arrest the flight. You must grab your own mind by the scruff of the neck and say, no, stop. We will stay here. We will look at this one true thing. Force the mind to stay. Stay on the stone. Stay on the cold. Stay on the simple, undeniable fact of it. Just this. Just the stone. Nothing else. Feel how it grounds you. Feel how it anchors you to what is real. It's hard. God, it's so hard. The gears grind. The mind resists with all its strength. It wants the strange comfort of its own misery. It wants to return to the familiar territory of pain. There is a perverse safety in sorrow, a known quantity, a place where at least you understand the rules. But reality is uncertain. Reality demands that you acknowledge complexity, ambiguity, the possibility that things might not be as bad as they seem. And that is terrifying. But you hold the lever, you force the gear. You say to your own mind, no, we will stay here. We will look at this one true thing, the candle flame, the cold stone, the timber of the roof beam above you, solid oak, dark with age. The simple fact that 2 and 2 make 4, that the earth revolves around the sun, that water is made of hydrogen and oxygen, that gravity pulls objects toward the center of the earth. It doesn't matter how small the truth is. What matters is its solidity, its independence from your feeling. It is an anchor point, a post driven into the bedrock of reality. All you must do is hold on to it, grip it with both hands. Let it stabilize you. This act, this contemplation, it begins to clear the lens, little by little, slowly, incrementally. The fog thins in one small patch. The warped mirror shows one tiny corner of reality, undistorted. And in that clarity there is relief, not joy, not happiness, not anything resembling contentment, but relief. The relief of solid ground beneath your feet after being tossed on a stormy sea. The relief of seeing clearly, if only for a moment. The relief of knowing that reality still exists, that truth is still possible, that your mind can still function even if it is wounded. This, Thomas says, is a kind of pleasure, a deep and profound pleasure. He wrote, "The greatest of all pleasures consists in the contemplation of truth." It seems impossible, doesn't it? Pleasure, when the heart is so heavy, when the weight still presses down, when the wound is still fresh and raw. But he is not talking about the pleasure of a feast, or a warm summer day, or music, or wine, or any of those bright, sweet things. He is talking about the pleasure of order, the pleasure of things being in their right place, the deep, quiet satisfaction of a compass needle finding north. The storm can still rage, the waves can still crash over the deck, the wind can still tear at the sails. But if you know where north is, you are not lost. You can steer, you have a direction, you can set your course, you can navigate. Truth is your north. It is the fixed point in a spinning universe of pain. It is the star by which you steer when all other lights have gone out. When your sorrow tells you, "I am nothing, I am worthless, I am a waste of space and breath, I should not exist," you can hold up the truth that you are a creature made of bone and blood and breath, a being of immense complexity. Think of it. Your body contains approximately 37 trillion cells, each one a universe unto itself, with its own membrane, its own nucleus, its own machinery of life. Your brain contains 86 billion neurons, each one connected to thousands of others, forming a network of incomprehensible intricacy. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day, without you thinking about it, without you willing it, pumping blood through 60,000 miles of vessels. This is an objective truth, a biological truth, a truth that exists regardless of your feelings about it. You are, objectively, a marvel of engineering, a masterpiece of evolution or creation or whatever force brought you into being. The complexity of your eye alone, the lens, the retina, the optic nerve, is sufficient to inspire awe. The fact that you can see this candle flame, that light can enter your eye and be translated into electrical signals and interpreted by your brain as light and flame and yellow. This is miraculous. The truth doesn't deny your pain, it doesn't minimize your sorrow, but it refuses to let your pain be the only truth. It puts a boundary around the sorrow. It says, "You are this, you are suffering, yes, but you are also this. You are also a being of incredible complexity and beauty. You are a being that suffers, and you are a being that thinks, that perceives, that understands, that can contemplate truth itself. When your sorrow whispers, 'This pain will never end. I will feel this way forever. There is no hope. There is no escape,' you can hold up the truth of nature, the truth of seasons, the truth of cycles. Winter always gives way to spring. Night always yields to dawn. The tide goes out and the tide comes in. The moon waxes and wanes. Everything in nature moves in cycles, in patterns, in rhythms. No state in nature is permanent. This is a fundamental law, a cosmic truth. Change is the only constant. Everything flows, as the ancient philosopher said. Pantarei. All things are in flux. The river you step into today is not the river you stepped into yesterday. The person you were an hour ago is not exactly the person you are now. Cells die, cells are born, molecules rearrange. Energy transforms from one state to another. This truth does not promise that you will feel better tomorrow. It does not guarantee that your circumstances will improve. It does not offer false hope or empty optimism, but it states as an undeniable fact, as a truth written into the very structure of reality, that the state you are in now is not eternal. It cannot be. It is against the law of being. Everything changes, everything transforms, everything passes. Even your sorrow, as heavy as it is, as real as it is, as justified as it is, even this will change. Not disappear, perhaps, not be erased, but change, transform, become something else, something you can live with, something you can carry without being crushed. You feel that? The shift, the slight release of pressure. It is subtle, easy to miss if you're not paying attention, but it's there, a tiny gap opening up between you and your pain, a sliver of space, a breath of air. It is the pleasure of alignment, the pleasure of rest. Remember, sorrow is a kind of flight, while pleasure is a kind of rest. You are no longer running. You are standing still. You are resting the weight of your mind upon the pillar of what is true. Let us try it. Together, here in this room. Let the work of the heart be still for a moment. The tears have been shed. The friend has offered their hand. Now let the work of the mind begin. Let reason reclaim its throne. Let truth be your guide back to solid ground. Breathe in the cool, waxy air. Feel it enter your nostrils, pass down your throat, fill your lungs. This is real. This is happening. Breathe out the fog of feeling, the confusion, the distortion. Let it leave you like smoke dissipating in the cold air. Now, find one truth, a simple one. Let's use the candle. It is before you on the table. It is a thing of fire and wax. It gives light. It exists. This is not a metaphor. This is not a symbol. This is an actual object made of actual matter, behaving according to actual physical laws. Hold this thought. Turn it over in your mind like a craftsman examining a tool. See the object, the candle, really see it, the cylindrical shape, the white or ivory color of the wax, the wick in the center, black and twisted, the melted pool of wax at its base, liquid and shimmering, the flame itself, teardrop-shaped, blue at the base, yellow in the middle, orange at the tip, the halo of light it casts, brighter near the source, fading to darkness at the edges, the dancing shadow it casts on the vellum page beside it, on the scarred wood of the table, on your own hand. Investigate it with your reason. Apply your intellect to it. It is governed by principles. The principle of combustion. The wick draws up liquid wax through capillary action. The heat of the flame vaporizes the wax. The vapor combines with oxygen in the air. The chemical reaction releases energy in the form of light and heat. This is not chaos. This is not randomness. This is order. This is law. A small, beautiful piece of order in your hand. Let your mind trace these connections. Let it work. Let it do what it was made to do. To know, to understand, to perceive the patterns that underlie reality. Forget about yourself for a moment. Forget the sorrow. Forget the wound. Forget the weight. Simply attend to the candle. Study its truth, the truth of its being, the reality of its existence. This is not escapism. This is not avoidance. This is the opposite. This is facing reality more directly than you have in days. Your sorrow has been a flight from reality into a maze of feeling. Now you are planting your feet on solid ground. You are looking at what is actually there, not what your pain tells you is there. And when your mind begins to drift back to the wound, and it will try to return to that familiar territory 12 times, 100 times. Gently but firmly, bring it back. Back to the candle, back to the light, back to the truth. It's like training a dog. You pull on the leash again and again. You say, no, here, stay. Look at this, focus on this. It is an act of discipline, the discipline of the intellect. It is a fight, a quiet, desperate fight in the dark of your own soul. But it is a fight you can win, because truth is on your side, reality is on your side. The candle is actually burning, the stone is actually cold. These are facts, and facts are stronger than feelings. Little by little, with practice, with patience, with persistence, it becomes easier. The mind, having tasted the rest that comes from truth, is more willing to stay. It begins to prefer the stability of the real over the chaos of the flight. It discovers that there is relief in accuracy, in precision, in seeing things as they actually are, rather than through the distorting lens of sorrow. The great groaning engine of the intellect begins to find its rhythm again. The gears mesh properly. The shuddering subsides. It begins to run smoothly, quietly, powerfully in the background. Not perfectly. There are still hitches, still moments when a gear slips, but better, functional, capable of producing accurate perceptions again. The sorrow is not gone. Let us be very clear about this. You have not thought your way out of grief. That is not the point. That was never the point. Thomas knew better than to promise such a thing. The wound is still there. The loss is still real. The pain is still present. But the sorrow no longer has a monopoly on your reality. You have introduced another power into the room, the power of what is true. And truth is stronger than any feeling. Truth is the bedrock. Feeling is the weather that passes over it. By contemplating what is true, you are digging your foundations down into that rock. You are building on something solid. You are anchoring yourself to what cannot be moved. And from that anchor point, from that stable foundation, you can begin to assess your situation accurately. You can begin to see what is real and what is distortion. What is true grief and what is the flight from grief into something darker, more destructive. You are reminding yourself that you are more than your pain. You are a creature that perceives reality, a rational soul, an intellect capable of grasping truth. The candle is still burning, the stone is still cold, and you are still here, thinking, breathing, being, existing, persisting, continuing. That is the greatest truth of all for tonight, not some grand metaphysical principle, not some theological proposition, but this: I am, I exist, I continue, despite the pain, despite the sorrow, despite the weight, I am still here. This is Descartes' discovery, but it is also every suffering person's anchor. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am, but also I suffer, therefore I am. I grieve, therefore I exist. I feel this pain, therefore I am real. I am solid, I am here. The pain is proof of being. The sorrow is evidence of reality. You cannot grieve for nothing. You cannot mourn what never was. Your pain points to something real, something that mattered, something that was worth caring about. And if that was real, the thing you lost, the thing that causes this sorrow, then you are real too. You are not a ghost. You are not dissolving into nothing. You are here. You are thinking these thoughts. You are holding on to these truths. You are fighting this fight. And that means you are still in the game, still in the world, still capable of perceiving, of understanding, of knowing. The heavy work is done. The machine is reset. The compass points north again. The mind is tired now, but it is a good tired, the exhaustion that comes after a worthy struggle, after building something, after putting things back in their proper order, after restoring function to a broken mechanism. You can let the lever go, let the engine idle, let it rest in its proper alignment. The storm has not ended, but you are no longer lost within it. You have found your bearings in the dark. You have located north. You can navigate now. You can steer. You can move forward, even if that movement is slow, even if it's just one small step at a time. The weight is still there, but you are no longer fleeing from it. You are facing it. And in facing it, in seeing it clearly, in understanding its dimensions and its nature, you have gained power over it. Not the power to make it disappear, but the power to carry it without being destroyed by it. This is wisdom. This is the contemplation of truth. This is the third remedy, and it has done its work for now. The mind has done its work. You have held the truth like a compass in the storm. You have seen your sorrow for what it is, not a monster that will consume you, not a permanent stain on your soul that can never be cleansed, but a shrinking, a contraction, a turning away from the light, a flight from reality into the fog of distorted perception. And in the contemplation of what is real, of what is true, the candle's flame, the stone's cold, the simple fact of your own existence, you have found your bearings again. You have anchored yourself to what cannot be moved. You have reset the machinery of reason. You have cleared the lens, even if only partially, even if only temporarily. But the work of the intellect is heavy. It is exhausting work. It requires tremendous energy to force the gears back into place, to hold the mind steady when it wants to flee, to maintain focus on truth when every instinct screams at you to return to the familiar territory of pain. Look at the candle. See how low it has burned. The flame sputters now, clinging to the last of its wax. It has been hours. How many hours? You have lost track. Time has no meaning in this place. The candle that was tall when you entered is now a stub, a pool of melted wax with a drowning wick struggling to stay alight. The shadows in this scriptorium have grown long, deep, almost solid. They seem to have weight now, substance. The pages of the book before you are lost in the gloom. You can no longer read the text. The ink has faded into the vellum, or perhaps it is just that the light can no longer reach it. The arguments are settled. The reasoning is complete. The work of the mind is finished for tonight. And you are tired. A deep, bone-weary exhaustion that reason cannot touch. An exhaustion that goes beyond the mental, beyond the fatigue of concentration. This is physical. This is the body asserting its needs. The gears of the mind must stop turning. The ledger must be closed for the night. There is a different kind of wisdom needed now, not of the mind, but of the body. The body has its own logic, its own truth, its own way of healing. Listen. The stones of this place are silent. The wind that was howling earlier has died down. There is a stillness that signals the end of the struggle. The storm, both outside and inside, has spent its fury. Not gone, but exhausted, resting, gathering strength for another day perhaps, but for now, quiet. You have wrestled with the problem long enough. You have wept. You have accepted comfort. You have contemplated truth. You have done everything that can be done with conscious effort, with will, with determination. It is time to let go. Not through effort, but through surrender. Not through strength, but through weakness. Not through fighting, but through yielding. The Angelic Doctor understood this. Thomas, for all his brilliant intellect, for all his capacity for abstract reasoning, was not a pure mind floating in a void. He was a man, a large man by all accounts, a man who ate and slept and walked and felt the weather on his skin. He knew that man is not just a soul, not just a mind, but a union of body and spirit, a composite being, and when one is wounded, the other must minister to it. Your mind has ministered to your soul. It has applied the balm of truth to the wound of sorrow. Now, let your body minister to them both. Let it do what it knows how to do. Let it heal in its own way, through its own ancient mechanisms. There is a fourth remedy for this heavy sorrow, one that requires no argument, no contemplation, only acceptance, only surrender, only the willingness to stop fighting and let nature take its course. Thomas says it plainly, a truth as simple and profound as a cup of cold water. He says, sleep and baths restore the bodily nature to its due state of being. Restore the bodily nature. Think of those words. Let them settle. To restore, to bring back to what it was meant to be, to return to the original state, to the proper condition. Sorrow constricts. It makes the muscles tight, rigid, locked. It makes the breath shallow, restricted, inadequate. It poisons sleep, filling it with nightmares and anxious half-waking. The body bears this burden. It holds the tension of the soul's fight in its tissues, in its fascia, in its very cells. But the body also knows how to release it. This is its own form of prayer. This is its own way of offering what it has to the healing process. The body is not separate from the soul. It is not a prison or a burden. It is a partner, a collaborator in the work of being human. And it has wisdom that the mind does not possess, wisdom written into muscle and bone, wisdom encoded in millions of years of evolution, the wisdom of rest, the wisdom of restoration, the wisdom of letting go. Imagine now rising from this cold chair. Feel the stiffness in your limbs as you move. You have been sitting for so long, hunched over the table, that your muscles have locked into position. The stiffness in your back, the ache in your neck, the numbness in your legs from sitting on this hard wooden seat, the chill of the stone floor through your shoes as you stand. Your knees creak, your spine pops. The body protests the movement after so long in stillness. You leave the books, you leave the dying candle. You leave the table and the chair and the cold stone walls. You walk slowly, stiffly, through a heavy oak door into a smaller chamber, a washroom, and there, waiting for you, is a simple wooden tub filled with steaming water. The air is thick with vapor, warm, clean. It touches your face like a gentle hand after the cold of the scriptorium. It smells of herbs, lavender perhaps, something to soothe, something to calm, Someone has prepared this for you. Someone knew you would need it. The steam clouds the cold grey stone of the walls. It softens the hard edges of the world. It makes everything gentle, blurred, indistinct. This is not an indulgence. This is not a luxury. This is a restoration. This is medicine, as necessary and as healing as any poultice or tincture or prayer. The body has carried the weight of your sorrow all day. It has held the tension. It has borne the physical manifestation of your pain. Now it deserves care. It deserves tending. It deserves to be restored to its proper state. You remove your clothes. The cold air touches your skin. You shiver, but then you lower yourself into the heat and the water receives you. It takes the weight from your bones. That first moment of contact. A sigh escapes you, unbidden, not of thought but of instinct, the body's own wisdom expressing itself. Relief, release. The warmth seeps into your muscles, unknotting the tensions you didn't even know you were holding. The cold you've carried for so long, not just the cold of the stone room, but the cold of sorrow itself, that deep internal chill that no fire can touch, begins to dissolve, washing away into the water. The water holds you, it supports you, it makes no demands. It does not ask you to think, to analyze, or to understand. It simply asks you to be present in this moment of pure physical relief. This is the wisdom of the body, a wisdom that precedes thought, that existed before language, before philosophy, before theology. The wisdom that knows heat soothes pain, that knows water cleanses, that knows the body needs care and attention and gentleness. Every knot of worry in your shoulders, feel them beginning to release. Every ache in your back from carrying that invisible weight, let it go. Let the water carry it instead. Feel the heat penetrate deep into your joints, warming the very marrow. This is what it means to restore the bodily nature. It is a return to balance, a return to peace, a return to the body's proper state of relaxed alertness rather than constant tension. You sink deeper into the water. Let it cover your shoulders. Let it lap at your neck. Close your eyes. Just be here. Just feel this. The heat, the softness, the support. Nothing else matters for this moment. Not the sorrow, not the weight, not the struggle. Just this, just now. Just the simple physical pleasure of warmth after cold, of rest after labor, of care after neglect. And after the bath comes sleep. Not the fitful, shallow sleep of a troubled mind, but a deep, dreamless rest. The kind of sleep that heals, the kind of sleep that rebuilds, the kind of sleep that knits up the ravelled sleeve of care, as the poet says. You dry yourself, you put on clean clothes, soft and warm. You walk to a small cell, a sleeping chamber. There is a narrow bed with rough blankets, nothing soft or luxurious, but it is enough. It is all you need. You lie down. The mattress is straw, thin and lumpy, but after the hard wooden chair, it feels like clouds. You give your body permission to shut down, to close the accounts, to end the day's labor. The body does not need your help to heal. It only needs you to get out of the way, to cease the struggle, to lay down the weapons of thought and worry, to stop trying to solve the problem and just let yourself be. Sleep is not weakness. Sleep is wisdom. Sleep is the body's way of restoring itself, of repairing damage, of consolidating memory, of processing emotion. While you sleep, Your brain will sort through the day. It will file away what needs to be kept and discard what doesn't serve. It will process the grief, metabolize the pain, integrate the experience into the larger story of your life. You don't have to do anything. Just let it happen. Just surrender to the weight of your eyelids, to the heaviness of your limbs, to the darkness that is rising to meet you. This darkness is different from the darkness of sorrow. This is the darkness of rest, of peace, of letting go. And in this quiet surrender, in this warmth, in this giving over of control, something shifts. You have wept to release the pressure. You have accepted the compassion of a friend to share the load. You have contemplated truth to correct your course. You have tended to your body to restore its nature. The ledger of sorrow has been examined page by page, entry by entry. You have done everything a human being can do, everything within your power, everything that effort and will and determination can accomplish. And now, there is only one thing left, the final remedy, the one that underpins all the others, the one that gives meaning to all the rest. Prayer. Ah, but not the prayer of a beggar, not a frantic plea for rescue, not the desperate bargaining of someone who has run out of options. You have moved beyond that. You tried that perhaps at the beginning, when the pain first struck, when the weight first settled on your shoulders. You prayed then for it to be taken away, for it to not be real, for it to not have happened. Please, you said. Please, no. Please, God, not this. But it was real. It did happen. The prayer was not answered in the way you wanted, and so you stopped praying perhaps, or your prayers became bitter, became accusations. Why? Why me? Why this? Why now? What did I do to deserve this? But now, after the tears and the companionship and the truth and the rest, now the prayer is different. This is the prayer of final release, of ultimate surrender, of letting go not just of the pain, but of the need to understand it, to control it, to manage it. Imagine that heavy ledger we spoke of before, the one filled with all the accounts of your sorrow, every injury, every loss, every disappointment, every moment of pain carefully recorded, tallied, balanced against some imagined cosmic justice. You have carried this ledger. You have studied its entries. You have reconciled it as best you can. The tears were one form of accounting, a release of pressure, a balancing of the books through physical expression. The friend's compassion was another, a sharing of the burden, a witness to the reality of the accounts. The contemplation of truth was yet another, a checking of the entries against reality, a correction of errors, an elimination of false charges. But you cannot erase the entries. You cannot pretend they don't exist. You cannot simply close the book and forget. Some things happened. Some losses are real, some pain is justified and true and accurate, and you cannot carry this ledger forever. It is too heavy. It will break you if you try. And so, in your mind's eye, you take this book, this weight, this burden, and you walk to a simple stone altar. Picture it, see it clearly. It is vast, ancient, unshakable. It is the foundation of this very room, the foundation of the monastery, the foundation of everything. It has stood here for centuries. It will stand for centuries more. It is more solid than anything else in your experience. And you place the book upon it. You set it down, carefully, reverently, You let it go. Your hands feel light as they release it. Your shoulders lift. The burden is no longer yours to carry. You are handing it over, not into a void, but into the care of the one who laid the foundation, the one who made the stone, the one who created the very laws of being that you contemplated earlier. This is not abdication. This is not weakness. This is not giving up. This is the ultimate act of trust. You are saying, I have done all I can. I have wept. I have sought comfort. I have thought. I have rested. I have applied every remedy within my power, and still the sorrow remains. Still the weight presses. Still the wound aches. And so I give it to you, not because I don't care, but because I cannot solve this mystery alone, because I cannot carry this weight by myself, because I am finite and you are infinite, because I am weak and you are strong, because I am lost and you know the way. The prayer that rises now is not of words but of breath, a quiet offering, an exhalation, a statement of trust made not with the mind, but with the body itself. You are saying without speaking, I have done all I can. I cannot solve this mystery. I cannot answer the why. I cannot carry this weight alone. I give it to you. Take it. Hold it. Carry it for me. Or give me the strength to carry it. Or show me how to live with it. Whatever you will. Not my will, but yours. This is the ultimate act of letting go. It is the admission that you are not the center of the universe, that you do not have to have all the answers, that you are not required to understand everything, that you can release your death grip on control and trust that there is a larger pattern, a deeper meaning, a greater purpose that you cannot see from where you stand. It is the most profound relief, a peace that passes all understanding, because it is not a peace you have constructed through effort, not a peace you have earned through good behavior, not a peace you have achieved through right thinking, but one you have received, a gift, grace, something given freely to those who are willing to open their hands and receive it. And in this quiet space, this gentle stillness, this moment of pure surrender, a new kind of prayer takes form. Not your own words, not your own formation, but the words of the Master himself, the quiet friar who understood sorrow, who knew the weight, who walked this path before you. It is Aquinas' own prayer, born not of desperation, but of a deep longing for communion with the truth you have just contemplated, a desire not just to know about God, but to know God, not just to understand a concept, but to encounter the reality. Let the words become your own, a final whisper before sleep, a benediction, a closing prayer. Grant me, O Lord my God, a mind to know you, a heart to seek you, wisdom to find you, and a hope of finally embracing you. A mind to know you. The work is done. The machine has been reset. The intellect has found its proper function again. The contemplation of truth has led not to pride or self-sufficiency, but to humility, to the recognition that all truth points beyond itself to the source of truth, that in knowing anything truly, we are touching the mind that made all things knowable. A heart to seek you. The desire has been purified. The friend's compassion has reminded us that love is real, that connection is possible, that we are not alone, and that warmth, that human warmth, is a spark of the divine fire. To be loved by a friend is to be touched by the love that moves the sun and the other stars. Wisdom to find you. The path has been illuminated, not fully, not completely, but enough. Enough to take the next step, enough to move forward. The way through sorrow is not around it or over it, but through it. And in passing through, in enduring, in surviving, we gain a wisdom that cannot be taught, only learned through experience, and a hope of finally embracing you, the final surrender, the ultimate rest, the completion of the journey, not now, not yet, but someday, the hope that this pain will end, that this sorrow will be transformed, that what was lost will somehow be restored, that the tears will be wiped away, that the weight will be lifted not by our own effort, but by grace, that we will be received into the arms that have been waiting to hold us all along. Hope, not certainty, not guarantee, but hope. The theological virtue that allows us to continue when reason says to quit, that allows us to persist when logic says to surrender, that keeps us moving forward one step at a time, even when we cannot see where we're going. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to solve tonight. The work is finished. The remedies have been applied. The ledger is closed, placed on an altar, handed over to a strength greater than your own. The candle in the scriptorium has finally flickered out. The room is in darkness, a gentle, complete darkness. Not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb, the darkness that precedes birth, the darkness that holds the promise of morning. The body is warm, clean and heavy with the promise of restorative sleep. The mind is quiet, not empty, but still, no longer racing, no longer fleeing, resting in truth. The heart is at peace, not healed but held, not fixed but carried, supported by the friend's compassion and by the greater love that stands behind all friendship. All that is left is the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. In and out, in and out. Each breath a quiet amen. Each inhalation a small act of trust. Each exhalation a release. The body continues its work even as you let go. The lungs expand and contract. The heart beats. The blood flows. Life continues. You continue. You have come through the night. You have faced the sorrow. You have applied the ancient remedies. You have used the tools of grace and reason. You have done all that can be done. And now you rest. You rest not because the fight is over, but because you need strength for tomorrow. You rest not because the sorrow is gone, but because you cannot carry it while you sleep. You rest because rest itself is healing, because sleep itself is prayer, because surrender itself is trust. You rest, rest now. Let the darkness hold you. Let the silence surround you. Let the weight settle into the altar where it belongs. Let your breath slow. Let your mind quiet. Let your heart be still. Peace be with you. Pax tecum. Sleep.